When they first got married, Yi Fan's wife told him that if he ever caught her cheating on him, he must absolutely never forgive her. She said the cheating version of her would not be the person who loved him, so he had to punish her. But when she brought her, instead of going inside to greet her, Yi Fan threw away his carefully prepared anniversary gift, turned right around, and immediately contacted his lawyer to draft up a complete divorce agreement. Today, of all days, was their wedding anniversary. He had rushed back from out of town to give his wife a huge surprise, only to open the door and find them on the sofa. Inside, they were locked in a tight embrace on the couch. Liu Ruyan was completely unfazed, casually asking why he was back from his trip. Yi Fan gritted his teeth, demanding to know what they were doing, but she just casually shrugged, saying Yida got caught in the rain, so she let him take a quick shower. Seriously, who actually believes that kind of excuse? Yi Fan told her to at least make up a believable lie, reminding her she was still a married woman, but she just snapped right back at him. She frowned and told him he was crossing the line, saying it was her house, so who she brought home was none of his business. Going even further, she called him a useless live-in husband, saying he would still be a complete nobody if she had not brought him into her company. But back when they first fell in love, he remembered how she introduced him to her mother, and their relationship had her mother's full blessing. Sadly, her mother eventually fell terminally ill. On her deathbed, she held his hand and begged him to help Liu Ruyan run the business. Because of that, he abandoned his own dreams to join the company and handle all her stressful work. To secure deals, that heavy drinking at business dinners landed him in the hospital multiple times. His eating habits were so messed up that his stomach was completely ruined. Back then, Liu Ruyan would literally cry. She would tell him she did not care about the money or the company's size. She just wanted him healthy, saying nothing else in the world mattered. Yet here she was, effortlessly spitting out that he was nothing but a useless live-in husband who achieved absolutely nothing. Talk about a total slap in the face. As Yi Fan turned to leave, Zhang Yida suddenly put on a pathetic, victimized act. He whimpered about how Yi Fan did not believe they were clean, crying to Liu Ruyan that bad rumors would ruin her precious reputation in public. He actually looked at Yi Fan and begged him to believe they were just friends. Watching Zhang Yida put on this nervous, innocent show was completely sickening. Seeing his panic, Liu Ruyan squeezed his arm and told him not to worry. She threatened to fire Yi Fan if he dared to spread any rumors, glaring at him with utter disgust. She scoffed that without her, he would still be some basic corporate worker struggling to survive, so he should just keep his mouth shut and be quiet. Yi Fan just looked at her calmly and nodded, saying whatever made her happy. He immediately walked out of the house and threw his carefully prepared anniversary gift straight into the trash. Honestly, Liu Ruyan probably forgot it was even their wedding anniversary. It reminded him of the time he came home drunk from a business dinner and passed out, only to wake up in the middle of the night. The bed beside him was completely cold and empty. That was when he heard her voice coming from the bathroom, giggling and telling another man she would reward him tomorrow because he was so much better than her husband. Yi Fan stood there in absolute shock. He could not believe she was having such a disgusting conversation behind his back. Storming into the bathroom, he had a massive blowout fight with her. He honestly thought she would feel at least a little bit of guilt or shame. But she did not care at all. She started a cold war that lasted an entire week, completely refusing to come home after work. And then, during the company's annual gala, she openly made Zhang Yida her date, parading him around and introducing his identity to all their business partners, while Yi Fan had to watch and pretend not to care. He could only numb his pain with alcohol. But just as he was stumbling off to find a quiet place to rest, he saw Zhang Yida and Liu Ruyan slipping out of the private lounge right after one another. The strap of her white dress was literally broken. They had another explosive fight, but she did not even care to explain. She just grabbed Zhang Yida and left him there. That fight completely broke Yi Fan, and he finally suggested they take a temporary break, pointing out how many years they had already been together. He told her he did not want to watch her fall in love with someone else, so they needed space. But Liu Ruyan flatly refused to let him go. She kept swearing that Zhang Yida was just a friend. To prove her loyalty, she actually transferred him to a branch office and started coming home on time every single day. Yi Fan actually thought she was changing for real, but in less than a month, she was back to her old habits of staying out all night. Eventually, she transferred Zhang Yida right back and openly flirted with him right in front of Yi Fan's face. Today, it finally clicked. She simply did not love him anymore at all. Deciding on a divorce, he packed his things, left the house, and boarded a flight out of town. He fell fast asleep the very moment the plane took off into the sky. In his dream, they were back in their college days, transitioning from close friends to passionate lovers. They got married right after graduation, and today marked their 7th year of marriage together. He really believed they would spend their whole lives together, but waking up from that dream felt like a cold splash of reality. Their entire 10 years together, from age 18 to 28, were officially over. By the time he finally returned from his business trip, half a month had already passed by. The company threw a welcome-back dinner for him. Zhang Yida showed up late and naturally took the empty seat that was specially reserved for him right next to Liu Ruyan. If this were the old Ye Fan, he would have absolutely lost his mind. But now, he just smiled and calmly took a random empty seat at the table. He was completely checked out. Ye Fan did not say a single word of complaint. Throughout his trip, he had made up his mind that he simply did not care. But then, Zhang Yida suddenly stood up to make a toast. Zhang Yida praised him as the true pillar of the company, claiming this successful deal was almost entirely thanks to his hard work, and raised a glass to toast him. After thanking him for the profits, the guy downed his drink, telling Ye Fan to drink at his own pace. But Ye Fan just sat in his chair, not moving a single inch to touch his glass. Liu Ruyan instantly got annoyed at his silent treatment. She snapped that by refusing to drink, he was showing zero respect to either Zhang Yida or her. This level of double standards is actually insane to watch. Ye Fan calmly pointed out that he had just taken cephalosporin and could not touch alcohol. But Liu Ruyan did not believe a word, accusing him of taking the medicine on purpose just to avoid them entirely. Just as he picked up his chopsticks to grab some food, she slammed her hand violently onto the table. She screamed at him, asking if he was deaf and demanding he drink her toast. She threatened that if he did not drink, he could pack his bags and get out immediately, never showing his face at the company again. Little did she know, everyone there knew that without him, this company would. Ye Fan was the star player behind the deal today, but his wife, Liu Ruyan, completely fails to see it. He just chuckles and pulls out a paper. It is his resignation letter. He drops it right there, telling them he is officially done working with them. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan freezes. She stares at him with pure disbelief. She honestly thought he would cave in like always. No shot. Not this time. Ye Fan tells her to just sign it before things get messy. As he turns to leave, that absolute snake, Zhang Yida, grabs his arm. The guy leans in and whispers some insanely disrespectful trash. Ye Fan instantly snaps and shoves him off, but the jerk is just smirking. Zhang Yida flies backward, faking a fall. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan literally shakes with rage, shoves Ye Fan away, and screams at everyone to leave. Once they are alone, she glares at him, demanding to know what his problem is and why he is trying to humiliate her like this. Ye Fan just scoffs. Oh, so she cares about reputation? Where was that energy when she was embarrassing him? She just scowls in annoyance. She complains that he is acting petty over Zhang Yida again, insisting nothing is going on. Honestly, her gaslighting is next level, but he snaps. He roars that he is totally done with his wife fooling around with another man, and done with some cheap boy toy constantly disrespecting him. Liu Ruyan stays quiet for a long moment, then quietly says she thought he never minded. Ye Fan sneers. Like what normal man would tolerate this? But then he hits her with the ultimate truth. He does not care anymore because he does not love her anymore. Talk about a reality check. He tells her he is checking out and that he will send over the divorce papers soon for her to sign. Liu Ruyan is absolutely furious. She asks if he even knows what he is saying. Ye Fan just takes a deep breath and nods. Time to end this. Eventually, she sneers, pointing out that Ye Fan is just a low-level sales manager in her company. She really thinks she owns him. She calls him a useless nobody who is nothing without her. Ye Fan just shakes his head and walks away as she screams behind his back. She warns him he will regret this, reminding him how he begged her to marry him. Meanwhile, she does not even come home for a week. Instead, she is out partying with Zhang Yida, posting pictures of them kissing and hugging online. Ye Fan just sighs and turns off his phone. He leaves the signed divorce papers right on the dining table, and the next morning he heads straight to the office. His authority at work was already stripped away by her anyway, so when he submits his resignation, the director signs off instantly. They did not even bother asking questions. But before he can even step out of the building, Liu Ruyan calls, sounding incredibly pissed. She tells him to stop throwing a tantrum and that she rejected his resignation, threatening to leave him penniless. Ye Fan just laughs. He does not care about her money. He blocks her, resubmits, and this time she approves it instantly. Clean break. He is finally free. He leaves the company without looking back. That night, he sleeps peacefully for the first time, not worrying about her drinking or her mood. No more stress about her or the company. But the next morning, his phone starts ringing off the hook, and her voice blasts through the speaker. She demands to know where he is, screaming that his major project is about to sign and he better show up on time. After she finishes yelling, Ye Fan calmly points out that she has a terrible memory because he officially resigned yesterday. She approved it herself, so how was this project his problem? Liu Ruyan loses her mind, warning him not to push his luck. She claims the transition process is not done yet, threatening to sue him if he does not show up. But Ye Fan is not scared at all. He tells her she should have read his resignation letter properly. Then he hangs up. Done. He grabs his bags and gets ready to leave. Just as he steps out of the home they shared for 5 years, her car suddenly pulls up. Oh boy. She demands to know where he is going. Ye Fan emotionlessly replies that he's just going on a vacation. She scowls, muttering about how he can even think about traveling right now. She commands him to report to the office this afternoon because there is too much work. Ye Fan just nods, secretly laughing at her delusion. She walks inside, grabs some documents, and complains about the house being a mess before rushing right back out. She clearly did not even notice the divorce papers sitting right on the table. Ye Fan just watches her drive away, completely unfazed. Fast forward to his flight landing at sunset. As he exits the airport, a pretty girl in a tracksuit greets him warmly. She is his new assistant, sent by the new company. Ye Fan politely tells her she can just call him by his name. She smiles and introduces herself as Shen Youchu. They head to a nearby restaurant, but then his ex-wife calls again. He hangs up, but she keeps spamming his phone. When he finally answers, she is screaming about him missing today's meeting. She sneers that without her company, he is nothing but trash on the street. Ye Fan just calmly thanks her for her concern. Honestly, where does she get this confidence? She only has her status because Ye Fan literally drank himself to exhaustion closing deals for her. Now that they are done, he can easily find a better gig. But she is still acting like she is doing him a favor. She warns him he won't get a single penny of severance pay, but Ye Fan just cuts her off. He tells her he is leaving voluntarily and only wants what is legally his. This completely triggers her, and she starts insulting his age. She tells him he should be grateful she even took him in. Wow, the level of delusion from this woman is actually wild. She warns him that he still has time to regret this, or else he will end up begging on the streets. So toxic. He just laughs, not wanting to waste another second, telling her she is the one who needs a reality check. Liu Ruyan gets cold, telling him to stop playing around because her patience is thin. She still thinks he is just throwing a tantrum. But he is dead serious. He has got a brand new job and he is never coming back unless they finalize the divorce. She literally starts screaming, demanding to know why he changed jobs without asking her, accusing him of wanting to destroy their home. He can only laugh at that word because she destroyed their home long ago. He tells her to stop clinging to a dead marriage. She asks what she is to him after 5 years of marriage. Fed up, he just hangs up on her. Meanwhile, after spending the night with her side piece, Zhang Yida, Liu Ruyan lies awake staring at the ceiling, feeling completely uneasy. That draft of the divorce papers Ye Fan left on the table is finally starting to feel real to her. He wanted to leave with absolutely nothing, but she assumed he would just crawl back, like he always did. This is wild because days have passed and he has not made a single move to contact her. She opens her phone only to find his profile completely blanked out. She is officially blocked, and now panic is finally setting in. She shoots him a text, and boom, the red exclamation mark hits her. Desperate, she tries calling his number next. The number is completely out of service. Now she finally realizes he was not playing games. He is actually gone. She searches everywhere and asks everyone, but nobody has a single clue where Ye Fan went. At this point, she is feeling completely hollow at her desk when her phone suddenly rings with a call from Zhang Yida. She instantly declines it, but he keeps spamming her. By the third call, she totally loses her patience. She screams to stop calling, but it turns out to be a terrified delivery guy asking her to sign for a package. She frowns, telling him she is too busy, and demands to know who exactly sent this package. When he says it is from Ye Fan, she drops everything and speeds all the way home, literally running red lights. She corners the courier at the gate, demanding her mail, but he says her husband already took it inside. Her husband? He is not even home, but the courier insists the guy claimed to be her husband. She immediately charges inside. She catches Zhang Yida trying to flush something down the toilet in a panic. He is acting incredibly shady right now. She kicks the door open and snatches the box from his hands. Inside are countless photos of Ye Fan. Pictures of him running in the sun, working in a suit, and cooking in their kitchen with a spatula. Every single picture was taken with pure love. Her hands start shaking as tears stream down her face. Low-key heartbreaking. But the final photo freezes her solid. It is a picture of her and Zhang Yida in bed together. On the back, Ye Fan wrote a simple question, asking if she ever felt a single ounce of regret. Now we jump to Ye Fan's new job, where the female lead, Shen Youchu, keeps hanging around him. She is clearly built different. She is always inviting him to lunch, causing office rumors, so he tries his best to keep his distance from her. But she notices his cold shoulder and corners him after work, demanding to know why he is avoiding her. He tells her she is mistaken, but she stomps her foot and insists he call her by her first name instead. The tension is rising, until his phone suddenly saves the day. He picks up without even checking the caller ID. It is his ex-wife, Liu Ruyan, coldly announcing that she has tracked him down and is currently at his new office. She sneers, mocking him for thinking he could hide in another city. He is totally baffled because she was never this obsessed. When Liu Ruyan hears Shen Youchu in the background, she goes full jealous mode, demanding to know who she is. He tells her it is none of her business unless she is calling about their divorce. He hangs up, leaving Shen Youchu completely stunned to find out he is currently going through a divorce. He sadly admits he is just a failure in love, but she looks at him with pure sympathy and comfort. She tells him he is amazing and his ex did not deserve him. Suddenly, a massive commotion erupts outside the office. He steps out to find Liu Ruyan causing an absolute scene while the security guards desperately try to stop her. She screams that she is just looking for her husband and nobody can stop her. Then she spots him and charges over. She tells him to stop throwing a fit and come home, grabbing his arm, but he completely shakes her off. She claims he is the one who went too far by running away. She orders him to come back immediately. Suddenly, our girl Shen Youchu steps right between them and asks who this random auntie is. Oh, the author cooked. Shen Youchu calls out this random lady for storming into their office, but Liu Ruyan completely ignores her, ordering Ye Fan to go home right now. She is so bossy, Shen Youchu claps back, saying he is their project manager, so why should he leave? Liu Ruyan's face turns freezing cold at the defiance. Liu Ruyan snaps back that he is her husband, but our new girl Shen Youchu stands her ground, proudly stating that brother Ye Fan clearly does not want to go. Brother Ye Fan? That absolutely triggers Liu Ruyan. She begs Ye Fan to talk, but he shuts her down completely. He has a new life, a job, and actual support now. He tells her straight up to stop pestering him. Talk about satisfying. Liu Ruyan is speechless, but begs for just 10 minutes to explain herself. Ye Fan is completely over it. He tells her maybe next time, grabs Shen Youchu and walks away. Liu Ruyan is practically shaking with rage, warning him he will regret this. Once the toxic ex stomps off, Ye Fan apologizes to Shen Youchu for the drama, promising to buy her dinner. Honestly, she deserves a whole feast. Shen Youchu shrugs it off, saying she just hated seeing that woman act so arrogant. She offers him a ride home. But downstairs? Yep, the ex is still waiting. Like, can she please take a hint? Liu Ruyan screams that she is still his wife, but before Ye Fan can even speak, Shen Youchu jumps right back in. Shen Youchu points out they are divorcing anyway. This makes Liu Ruyan even madder, screaming that she won't sign the papers. Absolute clown behavior. Ye Fan just sighs, wondering why she is making such a scene. He politely declines the ride from Shen Youchu and heads home alone. But the nightmare is not over. This woman is straight up stalking him now. She actually tracks down his apartment, and that very night, she shows up right at his doorstep. He asks what she wants, but she just shoves him aside and walks right in. She tells him his little tantrum is over and orders him to come home. She actually says she will forgive him. Bro, the audacity is unreal. Ye Fan laughs, asking if she truly thinks he is blind to her affair with Zhang Yida. He asks if she thought his divorce request was a joke. 5 years of marriage, and he only left quietly to save them both some dignity. He tells her to stop ruining what little respect is left. Liu Ruyan looks completely cornered, trying to make excuses yet again. She claims she only views the guy as a little brother. Ye Fan sneers, asking if brothers usually pin their sisters onto the bed. Mic drop moment. Her face turns pale as a ghost. Ye Fan calmly tells her to save the lies. He knows her way too well, and he is done playing her games. He tells her to get out and stop disgusting him. Running back and forth between two men must be exhausting, so she should just stick to her precious Yida. Absolutely destroyed her. She glares at him and stomps off in defeat. By the weekend, Ye Fan gets a text from Shen Youchu. She asks him out for some weekend shopping. He is about to decline, but then she asks if he actually wants to get back with his toxic ex. That question hits him right in reality. He hesitates, but agrees to go. He meets up with her, and as they walk toward the mall, Shen Youchu takes his hand, but suddenly a furious scream cuts through the air. Ye Fan, wait! He freezes and turns around. Of course, it is the stalker ex again, marching over in a total rage. She screams that they are not divorced, and he should have some shame. This girl has zero self-awareness. Ye Fan snaps back, asking what right she has to judge him. Shen Youchu immediately backs him up with some major shade. Liu Ruyan completely ignores her, keeping her eyes glued to Ye Fan. She asks if this random woman is the real reason he wants a divorce. Unbelievable! Ye Fan frowns, asking her if she thinks everyone is as dirty as she is. She knows exactly why he wanted out of this marriage. She actually has the nerve to scoff. She complains that she already apologized, yet he still wants a divorce and even transfer jobs secretly. She claims Ye Fan is the real cheater here. Like, are you serious right now? Ye Fan looks at her with pure disgust, asking who actually ruined their marriage. She yells that as long as they are married, he cannot be with anyone else. She steps forward, aggressively reaching out to grab his arm. Ye Fan steps back, dodging her easily, and tells her to stop. But before he can even finish, a familiar voice interrupts from behind. It is the homewrecker himself, Zhang Yida. He walks up and patronizingly tells Ye Fan that he is looking pretty tired lately. The audacity of this dude. Seeing them stand so close is just straight-up comedy. Ye Fan scoffs, asking Liu Ruyan if she does not feel embarrassed after the speech she just made. She quickly pushes Zhang Yida away, claiming she only brought him here to check out the work environment. Ye Fan just stares, completely unbothered. He cuts her off, saying she does not need to explain a thing. Whatever she does with her little side piece is her own business. He grabs Shen Yuchu's hand and walks away, but the toxic ex is not done. She chases after them, screaming his name. She literally asks him when he is going to stop throwing a fit, offering a half-hearted apology. He asks why she is still acting so clueless. He asks if she would ever accept him doing the same thing with another woman. Before she can reply, Zhang Yida grabs her hand, chiming in. This guy actually tells Ye Fan that he should not make things ugly. He claims sister needs someone to manage the house and accompany her. He literally suggests Ye Fan should just stay at home as a house husband while he handles the rest. Bro, is he actually suggesting a three-way marriage? What kind of insane logic is this? I am losing my mind. Ye Fan just shakes his head, completely speechless at this level of delusion. Even Liu Ruyan realizes how crazy that sounds, flinging his hand away. She snaps at him to shut up and act like an adult. She turns back to Ye Fan, her voice actually softening for once as she begs him to return. But Ye Fan just asks, "What about your little boy toy?" She looks back at Zhang Yida, and Ye Fan spots the instant hesitation in her eyes. It is honestly pathetic. He just shakes his head and scoffs. He tells her that with acting skills like that, she belongs in Hollywood. Liu Ruyan's face instantly drops as she realizes she is completely busted. Reluctantly, Liu Ruyan turns to her boy toy Zhang Yida and orders him to apologize to Ye Fan. Cue the absolute shock on Yida's face. Yida whines about why he should apologize, but Ruyan's tone is ice cold, telling him to just do it. Honestly, he looks ready to cry. He whimpers, asking if she doesn't love him anymore. Ruyan actually softens a bit, but watching this cheap drama just makes Ye Fan sick. So Ye Fan turns around and walks. Ruyan tries to chase him, but our girl Shen Youchu steps up and completely blocks her path. Youchu snaps back, refusing to move. This face-off is pure gold, but Ye Fan just facepalms at the sheer drama of these two. He tells Youchu to leave because they're not worth the time. She instantly turns into an obedient angel, following him up the escalator. Yida grits his teeth and jogs after them too. Ye Fan is just extremely annoyed, beyond annoyed. His whole weekend is ruined. Youchu gently tugs his sleeve, telling him to ignore them, which makes Ruyan absolutely boil with rage. She literally storms forward and shoves Youchu aside, screaming at Ye Fan that he's gone too far and begging him to come home. She even promises to cut ties with Yida completely. Hearing this, Yida turns pale as a ghost, asking if she is actually serious. Ruyan doesn't even look back, her eyes locked on Ye Fan. Desperate, Yida grabs her in a tight hug, screaming about his wasted years. He yells that she's treating him like disposable trash. Talk about a public meltdown. This completely embarrasses Ruyan, who snaps at him to shut up. And then, boom, she delivers a brutal slap right to his face. Yida is completely stunned, standing there in absolute disbelief. He whimpers about how hard he worked to stay by her side, demanding she give him some kind of explanation. But Ruyan is completely cold now, warning him to remember his place or else. Watching this clown show, Ye Fan is not surprised at all. Sure, Yida's young and knows how to play the boy toy role. But he clearly doesn't know his boss. Ruyan only liked him because he was obedient, but she won't tolerate him acting up like this. And honestly, Yida's meltdown makes perfect sense. He is not clinging to her because of love, he's holding on to his meal ticket. Ruyan funded his entire luxurious lifestyle. She's basically his sugar mommy, and losing her means losing everything. No wonder he is fighting so hard to hold on to her. But then Yida suddenly turns his anger towards Ye Fan. He asks why Ye Fan won't just let her go, accusing him of playing two girls at once. The absolute audacity. He is trying to paint Ye Fan as the villain who is holding on to Ruyan out of spite, and of course, Ruyan actually falls for it. Ye Fan just laughs in his face, telling him to stop talking nonsense. It is Ruyan who is refusing the divorce, not him. Why on earth would he ever fight over a cheating ex-wife? Youchu skips over, totally agreeing, and tells him they should just head out. She even calls him brother in the most adorable, exaggerated way. Ruyan wants to chase them, but Yida grabs her again. Talk about instant karma. Yida refuses to let her go, and Ruyan is ready to blow a fuse. Honestly, this whole situation is a certified circus. They argue for what feels like hours before Yida finally backs off. He knows he can't push his sugar mommy too far. Just a glorified boy toy. But once he's gone, Ruyan suddenly gets a reality check and starts bringing Ye Fan breakfast. She even waits outside his office with flowers. I mean, a beautiful girl chasing after a guy like this? It's like a drama scene. Naturally, all of Ye Fan's coworkers are gossiping like crazy. So the next time Ruyan shows up, Ye Fan decides to finally confront her. She gets this hopeful, slightly arrogant smirk, asking him if he's finally changed his mind. Oh, the delusion is real with this one. Ye Fan hits her with an icy reality check. Sign the divorce papers. He is completely done. 5 years of his life wasted. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Ruyan freezes, teary-eyed, asking if he's really going to be this heartless. She whines about throwing it all away. He just shakes his head. If she had cared about him even a tiny bit over the last 5 years, she wouldn't say this. She ignored every single chance he gave her. He tells her to stop before he hates her even more, reminding her of her reputation. If the public finds out about her cheating, her career is done. Ye Fan doesn't even try to hide the threat, leaving her pale. She can't believe it. The man who used to worship her is now threatening her just to get a divorce. But seriously, what right does she have to be mad? After a long silence, she asks with a raspy voice if they can end this. She wants to end it with a proper goodbye, not just like this. Knowing she'll just keep stalking him, Ye Fan agrees. So he just lets her have her way for now. But over the next few days, she goes full stalker mode again, sending gifts. His desk is practically buried, so what does our king do? He throws them straight into the trash right in front of everyone. Absolute legend. Youchu pops up out of nowhere, teasing him about wasting such expensive gifts. He just shrugs. It is not his, so why keep it? Youchu cute pouts and calls him a heartless guy before huffing off. Honestly, these two are so adorable together. And of course, the co-workers see this and are convinced they are dating. All Ye Fan can do is smile bitterly at the rumors. Don't make cheap jokes about girls. It ruins their lives. Suddenly, Shen Youchu returns, asking if he is worried she will ruin his. She speaks up from behind, forcing him to turn around and helplessly explain he did not mean it like that, but she keeps pressing. Honestly, getting caught red-handed talking behind someone's back is the peak of awkwardness. He can only stammer out that they were just chatting. Just as he tries to find an excuse to escape, she drops a bomb. Those flowers from earlier? Yeah, she sent them. He is completely stunned. After awkwardly scratching his head and apologizing for not knowing, she just smiles and says it is totally fine. Our girl Shen Youchu is literally an angel. She warns him not to throw them away next time and promises to keep his crazy ex away. She boasts she has plenty of ways to handle the situation. He actually believes her. But after work, his toxic ex, Liu Ruyan, shows up again. Seriously, this woman is like a ghost. He does not even hide his disgust, asking if she is just bored. She looks back with teary eyes. She claims she just wants to make amends, but he shuts her down instantly. She desperately begs him not to end their relationship like this. She begs for just 1 month, promising she will sign the divorce papers if he still wants to leave. Honestly, he will agree to anything just to escape. He agrees and tries to walk away, but she grabs his wrist, begging for one last dinner. Ever since he decided on a divorce, her touch makes his skin crawl. Just being near her makes him deeply uncomfortable. He pulls his hand back with pure irritation, telling her there is absolutely no need. She looks incredibly hurt, pleading that she just wants to sit down and talk. I swear, the audacity of this woman is unreal. She literally begs him, promising to sign the papers if he just eats with her. With a heavy sigh, our boy finally gives in. But instead of a restaurant, she drives him to a grocery store, pushing a cart like they are still a happy couple. He just keeps his hands in his pockets. He gives her absolutely zero reaction. She pretends not to notice, walking ahead and looking at all the items on the shelves. She starts reminiscing about their early marriage days, bringing up how he used to cook for her because of her bad stomach. Her voice cracks as she realizes how many years have flown by. She finally feels the weight of her own mistakes. She literally threw away a man who loved her with his whole heart. But Ye Fan, he feels absolutely nothing right now. He just thinks about the 5 whole years he wasted on her. Like, how many 5-year blocks do we even get in life? She fills the cart with all of his favorite foods. Turns out she always knew what he liked. She just stopped caring back then. At checkout, she mutters about how expensive beef has gotten, trying to start some casual small talk to ease the heavy tension. But he shuts down the small talk instantly. He reminds her that since he left with nothing, he cannot afford to waste money. Oof, talk about a reality check. Her face goes completely stiff, and the silence lasts all the way back to the car. She softly tells him he does not have to live like a monk, since her income is much higher. But he cuts her off. He tells her straight up that he just wants a fast divorce without dragging things to court. She goes quiet, completely avoiding the topic. Once they get home, she heads straight to the kitchen. 2 hours later, she actually cooks up a whole home-cooked meal. Looking at the simple spread, he has zero appetite. He coldly notes that there is way too much food for just 2 people. She plays the perfect housewife, serving his rice and soup, but honestly, it is way too late for her to act sweet now. He knows it is all a fake show. If someone can fake love, they can easily fake being a good wife. He stays completely silent. He does not even touch a single bite of the food, just moving his chopsticks around. She wants to speak, but hesitates. The silence in the room is deafening. After a quick meal, she clears the table and goes to wash the dishes. Seeing a powerful chief executive officer wearing an apron and washing dishes would shock anyone. Talk about a complete role reversal. But he remembers she probably did the exact same things for her lover, Zhang Yida, so he just ignores her completely. She sits down next to him on the couch and calls his name. Instantly annoyed, our guy just stands up and walks away. He retreats to his study. Later that night, he hears the shower running and realizes she is actually planning to sleep over.
He tells her through the door to leave once she is done. He locks himself in his bedroom, but she starts knocking.
She begs him to open the door to talk, but he has zero patience left, telling her he is tired of her nonsense. She finally walks away. He sighs, deeply regretting agreeing to this deal. The next morning, she is up early cooking breakfast. He notices her toiletries are now fully unpacked in his bathroom. It looks like she is moving in for good. Absolutely fed up, he grabs her stuff and throws it straight into the trash, right in front of her face. Instead of fighting back, she just pulls out a spare set from her bag. This exhausting game goes on for days.
Thankfully, Shen Youchu saves the day by scheduling a business trip. Yes, the perfect excuse to escape his toxic ex-wife.
He rushes home to pack, but just as he is leaving, she walks in and asks if he is escaping again.
He laughs in her face. It is his house, and he can leave whenever he wants. He shoves past her and walks out. Ye flat out tells his toxic ex Liu Ruyan to pack up and get out of his house immediately, but she grabs his arm, crying and acting shocked that he did not tell her first. Why should he have to tell her anything? Ye coldly shakes her hand off and sneers. Ever since her sneaky side piece, Zhang Yida, showed up, did she ever bother telling him?
Her so-called business trips were just cheap excuses to hook up with that guy. Now that she is caught red-handed, Liu Ruyan instantly panics, her face turning completely pale.
Completely losing her confidence, she stammers and asks when he will be back. He just shuts her down completely, telling her it is none of her business. As he turns to leave, she goes full crazy mode. She grabs his suitcase, crying that she does not agree and that he cannot leave. Ye just sighs, finding this whole dramatic scene pretty pathetic. He asks if she can realistically stop him for the rest of his life, but she stubbornly screams that she absolutely can and refuses to let go. She forces a tight hug and tries to kiss him, but Yi shoves her away in pure disgust. The toxic ex completely loses her mind, screaming and hitting his chest in rage, demanding to know why he is doing this. Yi just stares blankly at her with zero emotion. He tells her she knows exactly why they are over, so she needs to stop pretending and acting so innocent. She freezes because deep down, she knows. She just expected him to keep taking her disrespect forever without ever fighting back, but that game is officially over. He gently pushes her aside and walks out with his bags. Behind him, she collapses to the floor, sobbing and shaking. He does not even look back, heading straight to a local hotel to crash. Late at night, the gorgeous, wealthy female lead Shen Youchu texts him, asking if she should pick him up tomorrow. Ye sends his hotel location and finally gets some peaceful sleep. He sleeps like a baby, but the next morning, Shen Youchu calls to let him know she is already downstairs. Ye quickly gets ready, grabs his stuff, and heads down. But when he gets outside, he spots a wild scene. Shen Youchu and his ex, Liu Ruyan, are already having a massive, tense standoff right there in front of the hotel. Yi demands to know what she is doing there. Liu Ruyan's eyes are red as she stares at Shen Youchu with pure hostility, angrily asking him if this is the business trip partner he was talking about, and he looks back coldly. Ye snaps back, saying they are actually going for legitimate work, unlike her who just fools around with side pieces. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's face turns pale. Shen Youchu just rolls her eyes and hands Ye the car keys, naturally telling him to drive. Honestly, the chemistry here is top tier. Seeing them so close completely destroys the ex inside, especially since Ye does not even give her a single glance before driving off. Once they are on the road, Ye curiously asks her why she was arguing with his ex. Shen Youchu leans back lazily in her seat, explaining that she literally just arrived at the hotel and found this random woman waiting there like a stalker, which completely ruined her morning mood. She sits up and leans in with a highly suspicious look, teasingly asking if Ye actually spent the night with his ex-girlfriend before she got there. Yu rolls his eyes at her and explains all the crazy drama that has been happening lately. Hearing the story, Shen Youchu just mocks the ex, sarcastically calling her a very devoted and faithful woman. Yi just finds it annoying, but Shen Youchu secretly smiles. She starts humming to the radio, clearly loving that he is single now.
At the airport, Ye notices a bunch of colleagues from their company are joining them. He is getting curious because this lineup seems way too big for a normal business trip. Shen Youchu just gives him a mysterious smile, telling him he will find out once they arrive. Our boy is completely clueless about what she is planning, but it is pretty funny.
Honestly, Ye's just happy to escape his toxic ex and get some breathing room, but the moment their plane lands, things start getting pretty suspicious as the colleagues instantly run off.
All the colleagues immediately split up and leave on their own. Yi tries to follow them, but Shen Youchu pulls him back, saying they have their own private ride coming soon. The colleagues leave with these highly suggestive, knowing smiles that make Ye feel super awkward about this whole situation. Soon, a luxury van pulls up right in front of them to take them away. They drive deep into the suburbs, making him wonder what kind of business deal happens out here. Yi jokes, asking her if she's actually planning to kidnap and sell him. Shen Youchu rolls her eyes, asking him who would even buy him anyway. Ye drops the topic, and soon the car stops right in front of a massive luxury resort that looks beautiful. Getting out of the car, Ye is completely stunned by the gorgeous view. A group of professional butlers immediately bow, welcoming Shen Youchu back and naturally taking their heavy bags for them. It turns out this entire luxury resort actually belongs to her family, which is completely insane. They even arrange for Ye to stay in the room right next door to her. While unpacking, Shen Youchu stretches lazily and says she is taking a nap, telling him to wake her up this afternoon. Yi nods and walks around the beautiful estate before heading to his room. Ye decides to close his eyes for a bit too. Maybe it is the mental exhaustion from dealing with his toxic ex, but he completely passes out. By the time he wakes up, it is pitch black outside. He is shocked and immediately checks his phone, finding an unread text from Shen Youchu, calling him a lazy pig for sleeping so incredibly long. She complained that he was supposed to wake her up but slept even longer than she did. The text was sent 2 hours ago, so he quickly calls her back. Ye apologizes the second she answers, but she just playfully scolds him. Honestly, the way she pouts over the phone is actually pretty adorable, and you can tell she really likes him a lot. She says she tried waking him up multiple times. Yi nervously asks if this ruined their work schedule, but she just brushes it off like it is nothing. She tells him to forget about work and just get downstairs to eat. At this point, Yi really starts suspecting that something is up. This does not feel like a business trip at all. It feels like a fully paid romantic getaway. When he finally goes downstairs, he sees all those colleagues already sitting at the dining table waiting. He feels super awkward and immediately apologizes for making them wait, but a male colleague quickly waves his hands, saying they did not mind waiting at all for their awesome boss to rest. Shen Youchu excitedly puts some spare ribs into his bowl, proudly boasting that she cooked them herself. Talk about a major power move in front of the whole team. She is so cute. All the colleagues immediately look down, pretending not to see anything. Ye is so shocked by her sudden, direct public affection that he almost jumps out of his seat. Honestly, the thick awkwardness in the room is completely real. She is staring with excited, starry eyes. Ye has no choice but to take a bite. He does, and she immediately asks how it tastes. She is dying for some praise, acting like nobody else is even in the room. Honestly, Ye is on pins and needles with his colleagues watching. He just forces a polite smile to survive. He awkwardly admits it is a bit salty, but in reality, it tastes like she dumped a whole bucket of salt into the cooking pan. He literally feels like he is chewing on pure salt, but she just beams, happily telling him to eat more as she piles his plate high. She plops ribs into Ye Fan's bowl. He freezes. Silence. He feels like he is going to die, but thankfully, she eats one first. She pulls the plate back. No more ribs, but this simple lunch completely convinces their coworkers they are together. A colleague walks up. He asks if Ye Fan enjoyed the food. Ye Fan gulps down water, his face turning completely green. He squeezes out a painful smile. He says it was pretty good. The coworker is startled by his weird face. Ye Fan just lies about being thirsty to get rid of him. That bitter taste is still lingering. Absolute torture. Right on cue, Shen Youchu walks over with water, telling him to drink up. She says to speak up next time if it is bad. Then, ignoring their smirking coworkers, she reaches out. She grabs his arm. Time for a walk. But just as he's about to refuse, his phone starts buzzing. He frowns at the caller ID and hangs up. They keep calling. Relentless. This person is not taking no for an answer. He goes to turn it off. Shen Youchu leans over, smoothly snatches the phone, and answers it herself. Hearing a woman, his toxic ex-wife, Liu Ruyan, instantly loses her mind. She screams, demanding to know why she has his phone.
Shen Youchu holds the phone away with pure disgust. Once the screaming stops, she coldly tells her they are busy with official business.
Official business? Late at night? Oh, the author is cooking here because Liu Ruyan's mind instantly goes to some wild, unspeakable places.
She screams that if Shen Youchu touches her husband, she will pay, but our girl Shen Youchu is not intimidated.
She hits back, calling her the ex-wife. She points out she won't be his wife much longer anyway, none of her business.
She asks what right she has to lecture her, snaps that her voice is incredibly annoying, and hangs up.
She shuts the phone off completely. Denied. Ye Fan is left speechless, amused by her incredibly satisfied expression.
Shen Youchu huffs that he is too soft-hearted with toxic women. He stays quiet, then softly whispers a thank you.
He is incredibly grateful to her. They barely know each other, yet she constantly steps up to shield him from drama.
No matter her motives, he had to say it. Shen Youchu silently shakes her head, looking like she has something heavy on her mind.
They walk quietly through the garden. Suddenly, she whispers that if she had known, she would have chased him first.
He asks what she said. She quickly waves her hand, changing the subject to ask if he dated his ex in college.
He nods. He really doesn't want to discuss his toxic ex, but Shen Youchu is super curious and keeps asking.
Suddenly, she stops right in front of him. Her eyes are shining. She reveals they went to the same university. Talk about a plot twist.
She starts sharing funny college stories. He listens happily at first, but slowly realizes something feels off about her memories.
Shen Youchu falls silent. After a long pause, she confesses her deep regret. She liked him so much back then. But because he was hopelessly in love with Liu Ruyan, she fled the country. When she returned, he was already married. She thought they lost their chance forever. Then her dad mentioned him. He was miserable, constrained, and deeply unhappy.
He was throwing his life away. She admits she begged her dad to transfer him, and his divorce made her happy and sad.
Seeing her look so vulnerable leaves him completely speechless. His brain is literally lagging. This sudden confession makes no sense.
Since it feels so unreal, he reaches out to check her forehead for a fever. She pouts and swats his hand away.
She insists she is not sick or drunk. She has always liked him. She missed her shot once and refuses to miss again.
Seeing the ex-wife constantly trying to claw her way back has given her a massive reality check. She knows his past feelings ran deep. She is terrified they might get back together. That is the entire reason she actively set up this business trip.
She wanted to isolate him from her manipulation, fearing his soft heart would cave. Call it selfish, but she wanted him safe. She desperately wanted him to divorce that toxic woman. Looking at the completely dazed Ye Fan, she takes a deep breath and confesses again. She begs him to give her a chance. Hearing this confident girl sound so humble makes his heart ache, leaving him torn. She suddenly laughs it off and pats his shoulder, telling him to forget it. He sighs in relief and quickly follows. Over the next few days, she takes him all over the villa area, completely avoiding any work talk. It feels great, but he feels anxious. When he finally questions her, she shrugs and claims they are experiencing life, which technically counts as work. He is totally baffled. She explains this resort is their company's next big investment, so they are evaluating it as guests. Since she looks serious, he buys it. He nods along, half believing her, but a sneaky little glint flashes in her eyes as she warns him not to get distracted.
She tells him their feedback is crucial for launching the project. Suddenly feeling a massive weight on his shoulders, he promises to be serious.
Time flies when you are living the good life. Before they know it, they have already stayed at the resort for over 2 weeks. Ye Fan is starting to feel like his professional skills have slipped from lounging around so much. His limbs feel completely stiff. Realizing he has been lazy for too long, he remembers his place as a regular working guy and asks her if they should head back. Shen Youchu chews on her steak, asking why he looks so down. Ye Fan shakes his head. He just feels like staying in this luxury too long is making him soft. He's just too used to the grind. Shen Youchu gives him a weird look, stabs another piece of beef, and mumbles that he better get used to this life. Ye Fan does not quite catch what she said, but she just brushes it off and drops another juicy steak onto his plate. Ever since she confessed her feelings, her moves have gotten way bolder. He tries to get her to tone it down, but she is not having it. She literally does not care, and honestly, Ye Fan is just a normal guy. Having a gorgeous, lively girl constantly flirting with him is impossible to ignore.
He cannot completely block her out. When their trip finally ends and they touch down, Ye Fan immediately gets a call from the big boss.
The boss tells him to take a well-deserved break before discussing the next project. To be honest, talking to the boss makes Ye Fan feel pretty guilty. After all, he and the boss's daughter basically acted like a couple during the trip, but when he gets home and sees the shut door, he sighs in relief. He hopes his toxic ex-wife Liu Ruyan is finally gone, but as soon as he opens the door, there she is, wearing an apron on his couch. She jumps up excitedly, welcoming him home, but his good mood instantly vanishes. He cold shoulders her, asking why she is still lingering around like a ghost. She plays the victim, whining that she was waiting for him because he ignored her calls. Ye Fan shut down. Whether he comes back is none of her business. Back then, he was always the one waiting at home while she fooled around. Now she gets a taste of her own medicine. He asks when they are finally getting divorced. Her face drops. She begs him, asking how he can be this heartless after all their years together. She just wants one more chance to prove her love. She promises to cut ties with everyone else. Ye Fan knew she would not let go easily, but hearing the same old speech again just irritates him. Honestly, her desperate begging is just getting pathetic at this point. I love how he does not fold. He tells her straight up to stop wasting time. He demands she give up because his mind is completely made up. When she demands to know why, Ye Fan just coldly tells her there is no why. They were together for years, so she should know him better than this. He swallowed his pride and endured her disrespect for way too long. He forgave her over and over. He took the hit every single time. But after 5 long years? No more. Liu Ruyan is not the one. Back then, she wanted a home, but once she had it, she started craving other men. Despair fills her eyes because she thought she could always manipulate him. She assumed that if she just apologized, he would run right back to her. That is why she felt so safe disrespecting him for years. She never cared. Now, she finally gets it. His love is dead. He wants a divorce, and he is as stubborn about it now as he was about marrying her back then. He is not looking back. As Ye Fan turns to leave, she suddenly lunges forward, wrapping her arms tightly around his waist from behind while crying out. She begs him to stay, promising to fire her cozy little assistant Zhang Yida first thing tomorrow. But Ye Fan just stands there in absolute silence. He slowly but firmly peels her hands off him. He has heard these empty promises too many times. He hated the idea of Zhang Yida from day one. Having a male assistant meant they would be spending way too much time together. But back then, she just laughed it off. She playfully teased him for being jealous, promising to hire a female assistant instead because he was the only man who mattered. Ye Fan believed her. He thought their honest communication was the secret to their long-lasting love, but she totally went back on her word. Not only did she keep the guy around, she actually brought Zhang Yida to their wedding anniversary, claiming the kid was harmless and just really talented. She literally told Ye Fan to grow up and stop being jealous of a kid? Nah, that is actually crazy. Her broken promises left him completely drained. Ye Fan stayed quiet, which only made her think she could push his boundaries even further. The two of them got closer, constantly touching each other at work. His heart sank deeper with every passing day as he tried to warn her. Even the office staff started gossiping about the blatant cheating, but whenever Ye Fan brought it up, she just got annoyed. She would snap, "You know I hate working, so let me have my fun." She basically told him she owned the company, so she makes the rules. To keep the peace, he let it slide, but when the assistant messed up a major task and Ye Fan called him out, she came rushing in. She immediately defended the guy, accusing Ye Fan of bullying a harmless newcomer. Ye Fan pointed out that the rookie's mistakes could ruin the entire company. She did not care at all, mockingly asking if he wanted the guy fired. Before Ye Fan could even answer, Zhang Yida bowed with tears in his eyes. The assistant played the ultimate green tea card, apologizing for being a burden and offering to resign just to keep them from fighting. This fake act immediately triggered her protective instincts. She pointed right at Ye Fan's face, screaming at him. She called him heartless, yelling that the kid was trying his best in a new city. She then dragged her precious assistant away, leaving Ye Fan stunned. After that stunt, Yi Fan completely lost any lingering trust in her. He tells her to save her breath. There is no need to apologize now. He says they should just go their separate ways. Hearing this, she goes completely pale, her voice shaking in absolute horror.
She asks if he is actually divorcing her. Looking at her tear-filled eyes, Ye Fan feels absolutely nothing. He just hands over the paperwork. Our MC tells her he will have the papers ready for her to sign, then turns and walks out. Behind him, Liu Ruyan completely breaks down, crying out for her husband, but he does not even look back. There is absolutely no hesitation left. Their story is officially over. But that same night, she sends him a file. Inside are heavily edited chat logs and voice clips. The messages are totally disjointed, and honestly, it is hard to tell what she is even trying to prove here. Is she really trying to use these obvious, poorly cropped screenshots to claim she never cheated? The audacity is wild. He just laughs because this cover-up is so bad it would not even fool a kid. But then she starts spamming him with old couple photos. Pictures from their vacations, their wedding, and even back in college. Looking at their history, he starts to feel a bit nostalgic. It is crazy to think they were actually so in love once. She used to snuggle up to him, act spoiled, and throw tantrums. She would even try to cook for his birthday, making a colorful table of terrible food. At the end of the day, those were beautiful times. But people change, and there is no going back. He stares at the screen in silence.
Then he deletes every single photo. Once you decide to leave, reminiscing is just a waste of time. Later, his lawyer finally sends over the divorce papers.
He calls her up to say the agreement is ready, and he is heading to her office. She stays silent for a long time before hanging up. He reviews the papers. He actually asks the lawyer to let him leave with absolutely nothing. He just wants a clean break. As he picks up the pen to sign his name, memories start flashing through his mind. Their first meeting, their first hug, their first kiss. How he gave up his academic future for her while she called him an idiot. How he promised her dying mother he would love her forever. As he finishes signing, a single tear drops, smudging the ink on the paper. He will lock away the good memories and discard the bad. But there is no turning back. He wipes his eyes and gets moving.
He heads straight to her office building. She must have cleared his path because the security lets him right through to her office.
He takes a deep breath and steps inside. It has only been 3 days, but she looks incredibly exhausted, almost like a completely different person.
Seeing him, she forces a sad smile and says, "You came." He just nods, drops the papers on her desk, and tells her to take a look.
Sign it if everything looks good, he says, but she does not even look at the paper. She just stares at him with red eyes. Do they really have to go this far, she asks, claiming she still loves him. He stays completely silent. There is no point in arguing now. Maybe she did love him once, but that love is long gone. He tells her to just sign it and stop wasting time. Crying, she opens the agreement with trembling hands, but right as she is about to sign, the office door swings open. It is Vice President Liu. The Vice President spots our MC and is thrilled to see him, saying it is great that he is finally back because the project is a mess. But the MC cuts him off. He is not back to work. He turns back to the wife and tells her to sign because he has a job interview to catch. She closes the folder and says she will sign, but only if he agrees to one condition. He immediately frowns at that. He is literally leaving with nothing, and she still has the nerve to make demands? But she insists that the company needs him for one last project. If he finishes this project, she promises to sign the divorce papers and never bother him again, hoping this will buy her some time. She even offers him 10% of the profits. Needing the money anyway, he nods and agrees. He has no reason to refuse, especially since he is broke now. But the second he agrees, she calls Zhang Yida into the room. She says Yida will be his assistant to help him with the project. Our MC just stares at her and lets out a sarcastic laugh. He asks if she is seriously making him train her side piece. She guiltily stammers that she just needs someone competent to take over when he leaves. She adds that as long as he does not hold back, the kid will do great. Our MC just shrugs while Yida gives him a smug grin. He ignores the guy completely, grabs the project files, and leaves. Over the next few days, he gets straight to work. Since he designed the project himself, it is incredibly easy. Surprisingly, Yida acts very eager and follows him everywhere to learn.
He has no idea what the kid is planning, but he does not bother holding back any secrets. Not because he is nice, but because he does not care.
Soon, launch day arrives. To boost her company's reputation, she hosts a massive banquet and invites all the local business elites. Everyone is congratulating her and raising their glasses. She does not turn down a single drink, and soon her face is totally flushed. She looks over at our MC with blurry eyes, telling the crowd that all the credit goes to her husband, calling him to come over. He just stands there frowning. Plus, he notices that Yida has suddenly disappeared from the room. He instantly gets a bad feeling about this. Sure enough, the moment the client opens the project proposal, his face completely drops. She asks him what is wrong. The client looks at her with absolute disgust, saying he did not expect her to be so wild in her private life. He says they came to do business, not to admire her naked body. She is completely stunned and grabs the proposal to look. Our MC stays back. He personally compiled this proposal, so there is no way there should be any mistakes on it. But as he takes a quick look, even he is completely stunned. Right there on the first page of the document is a highly revealing photo of his wife. So the photo shows Liu Ruyan and Zhang Yida lying naked in bed in a super intimate pose. Talk about messy. Before Ye Fan can even process this, Zhang Yida immediately starts pointing fingers, calling Ye Fan dirty and low. The audacity of this guy is unreal! He claims Ye Fan is just jealous about the project and wants a divorce, accusing him of orchestrating this whole setup to ruin them. This clown really yells out that Ye Fan is the only one who had access to the project files. Talk about peak villain delusion. Liu Ruyan falls for it completely, furiously scolding Ye Fan for acting like a bitter, petty ex after all his years at the company. She demands to know if this is just petty revenge, while Zhang Yida stands by looking incredibly smug. I cannot stand this guy.
Zhang Yida plays the victim, claiming they are purely professional and that Ye Fan's dirty mind is trying to destroy Liu Ruyan's life.
He calls Ye Fan heartless and says Liu Ruyan was blind to marry him. At this point, Liu Ruyan absolutely loses her mind. She starts hitting Ye Fan in a rage, but suddenly her eyes roll back and she collapses to the floor, clutching her chest. Zhang Yida rushes to help her, screaming at the guards to drag Ye Fan out, while the crowd looks on with absolute disgust. Everyone starts whispering about how toxic Ye Fan is, saying you never truly know a person even after years of marriage. The guards rush in to grab him, but they instantly freeze when they see Ye Fan's cold, murderous stare. He is built different. But the villain keeps screaming for them to do something, while Ye Fan just chuckles, looking at him like the clown he is. He tells Zhang Yida that yelling loudest does not make him right, asking if he is just panicking. Zhang Yida's eyes instantly dart away. The guy stammers, asking who else could have touched the files and done something so disgusting, but Ye Fan is already 3 steps ahead. Ye Fan pulls out his phone, calmly mentioning he installed hidden cameras in the office. Zhang Yida instantly panics and lunges for the phone. Our boy just casually kicks him straight to the ground. Honestly, that reaction alone tells the entire room everything they need to know. Liu Ruyan realizes the truth and stares at Zhang Yida with bloodshot eyes. She slaps him hard across the face, screaming to throw him out. The guards drag the screaming villain away while he glares at Ye Fan, hissing that he was set up from the start. Ye Fan just smiles, whispering that there were never any cameras. It was pure bluff, and the idiot totally fell for it. Zhang Yida screams that he is going to kill him, but the guards do not care and throw him straight out. Talk about major karma. Liu Ruyan is left standing there, looking incredibly guilty as she tries to apologize to Ye Fan. Our main character shuts her down instantly, handing over the files and telling her to meet him at 9 tomorrow for the divorce.
He has no intention of wasting another second on her. Liu Ruyan chokes back her tears, silent for a moment before finally nodding.
With the divorce finally happening, Ye Fan takes a day off. His sweet assistant Shen Youchu begs to go with him. He gently tells her to stay, promising to be right back. She stares into his eyes before softly agreeing, letting him go. Sitting on the plane, Ye Fan actually feels a wave of relief. He is finally escaping this toxic, suffocating marriage for good. The second the divorce papers are stamped, a massive weight lifts off his shoulders. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan stands there, looking completely dazed.
She is actually wearing the white dress Ye Fan bought her when they first started dating. A bit too late for nostalgia, sister.
This is a dress she used to complain was way too plain, but wearing it now, her desperate attempt to guilt trip him is so obvious.
She gives him one last hug, apologizing and saying he deserves better before walking away. Ye Fan does not even look back twice. He is totally fine with a failed marriage, but he is never letting it ruin his career. The grind does not stop.
Honestly, this is probably why she cheated. Once she became successful, she grew obsessed with controlling everyone and everything around her.
That is why she fell for an obedient puppy like Zhang Yida. But when Ye Fan gets back to work, his assistant is glowing. Shen Youchu immediately rounds up the whole team for a celebratory dinner, acting all cute and sassy when people ask what they are celebrating.
She knows she should probably play it cool, but she literally cannot hide how happy she is that he is finally single.
The co-workers immediately catch on, teasing that they are only getting free food because of Ye Fan. The office gossip is real. Rumors about these two are wilder than a Manhwa plot. Everyone starts hyping them up, forcing Ye Fan to desperately defend himself. He panics, claiming they are just celebrating their latest project milestone, turning to his team for backup. The classic panic mode. The girl just playfully sticks out her tongue, muttering that she is just his little assistant and has no say. Okay, that totally sounds like a cute wife teasing her husband, and the crowd absolutely loses it. The teasing intensifies. Our main character's head is literally spinning. Is she always this bold? Fortunately, everyone moves on once the food actually arrives. But then the team starts taking turns to toast him. Since they are all seniors, Ye Fan cannot really say no. Before long, he is feeling pretty dizzy, while Shen Youchu just sits there smiling. By the end, she has to hold him up. Looking at him with a mix of worry and hesitation, she gently whispers that he drank way too much. What is she planning? Ye Fan doesn't say a word, just staring straight at her face. Shen Youchu starts breathing pretty fast and quickly looks away. She helps him into the car, but as she tries to pull back, he grabs her arm. She loses her balance and face plants right on top of him. Their lips literally lock for a second before they pull apart. Talk about an accidental kiss. She panics, her face turning bright red as she looks at the half-asleep Ye Fan. She bites her lip and takes him back to her place. The next morning, Ye Fan wakes up staring blankly at the ceiling for a solid minute. Finally shaking off the hangover, he sits up with a massive headache and starts rubbing his throbbing temples. He wants to check his surroundings, but as he reaches out, he touches something soft. He totally freezes. Shen Youchu is lying right next to him, completely naked, with tear stains on her face. He jumps back like he just got electrocuted, realizing he is naked too. No explanation needed there. Actually, she was already awake and secretly watching his panicked reaction, holding back a laugh before pretending to just wake up. She sweetly calls out to him, but Ye Fan has a pretty complicated look on his face. Before he can ask about last night, she cuts in, saying she was totally willing. She blushes, admitting she took off her own clothes. She wanted this. Honestly, what a massive plot twist. Even though he already figured it out, hearing her admit it still leaves a bitter taste in his mouth. He can only look down and apologize. He blames the alcohol, but she gently tells him it is fine. She looks him in the eye and confesses that she likes him too much to resist. She wanted to give him everything. Ye Fan is totally speechless because he literally cannot remember a single second of last night. But there they are, lying naked in the same bed. That is a hard fact he cannot ignore. He knows he could resist temptation while sober, but a drunk body has a mind of its own. Seeing him silent, she gets a bit anxious. She quietly asks if he is mad. He shakes his head. No, he just feels incredibly guilty. She smiles, gets dressed, and offers to make him some hangover soup. He tries to stop her, but trips over a stool, completely losing his balance. He falls forward, and she screams, lunging to catch him. They crash down hard. Ye Fan scrambles up, but she is pale and clenching her teeth in pain. He asks if she is okay and tries to lift her, but she groans in pure agony the second he moves her. Panicking, he calls an ambulance immediately. On the way to the hospital, she actually tries to comfort him, telling him to relax. She jokes that putting her boss in the hospital is an honor, but he cannot even smile and just holds her hand tightly.
Once they arrive, Ye Fan spots a very familiar face. It is Zhang Yida, and he is loudly arguing with someone in the hallway.
He is screaming about an abortion, and when he mentions his sister, Ye Fan instantly gets it. He is having a massive blowout with his ex-wife Liu Ruyan.
Ye Fan wants to ignore this drama. He tries to leave, but of course Zhang Yida spots him. The guy storms over and yells at him to stop. Ye Fan just turns around with a pretty bored look and asks what he wants. Zhang Yida is glaring with pure hatred, demanding to know why Ye Fan is still pestering Liu Ruyan after the divorce. This guy is delusional. Like, how does a homewrecker have the audacity to act this arrogant in front of the ex-husband? Ye Fan honestly does not have time for this.
But Zhang Yida keeps barking, claiming that Liu Ruyan is aborting their baby because of Ye Fan. He calls the baby their true love child.
He is screaming and pointing fingers like Ye Fan is the villain who ruined their happy little family. Absolute gaslighting at its finest. Now the crowd is starting to give Ye Fan some dirty looks. He wanted to walk away, but since this clown is begging for a reality check, he is getting one.
Ye Fan is done playing nice. He asks Zhang Yida straight up if he forgot that Liu Ruyan was married when they hooked up. Even if he was clueless at first, he definitely knew for the last 2 years, yet he stayed and got her pregnant anyway.
What right does a homewrecker have to lecture him, especially after getting his ex-wife pregnant? Now the tables have turned and the entire crowd starts glaring at Zhang Yida. His face goes completely pale as he desperately tries to deny it. He screams that they are true love and the unloved one is the real third party. Bro, that is actually the most insane logic ever. The crowd instantly starts roasting him. They cannot believe a homewrecker is standing there talking about true love with a straight face. People are calling him a complete joke who ruins society. The public shame is real, and Zhang Yida is taking massive emotional damage. His face is pale, completely speechless. Ye Fan just watches. Honestly, he never cared about lecturing this guy since his ex-wife is the main problem. She was the unfaithful one, and a rich, beautiful woman like her could easily wrap a young, naive boy like Zhang Yida around her finger. In a way, Zhang Yida is just another victim of her games. Ye Fan did not even want to deal with him today, but the guy literally brought this humiliation on himself. Seeing the crowd grow, Ye Fan turns to leave, but Zhang Yida is not done yet. He actually screams that he is only the third party because he showed up late. The absolute audacity of this guy is almost hilarious. It is so shameless that Ye Fan cannot even find words to reply. He tries to walk away, but Zhang Yida lunges like a madman. He grabs him and demands Ye Fan convince Liu Ruyan to marry him and keep the baby, threatening to never let him go. Ye Fan's face goes cold. He warns him to let go, but Zhang Yida just glares back. Call Ruyan right now, or we're staying here all day. You've got to be out of your mind. Our guy doesn't even hesitate. He kicks Zhang Yida right in the gut, forcing him to let go in pain. He warns him with a cold stare. Don't mess with me again, or next time I'm calling the cops. Do you really think Liu Ruyan would ever accept a jailbird? This isn't an empty threat. With Liu Ruyan's massive status and wealth, there's no way she'd want to partner with a criminal record. Zhang Yida freezes, completely stunned. He stands there, gritting his teeth, finally looking up with desperate, pleading eyes. He begs him to help just this once, for the kid's sake, promising to stay away forever. But our main character just turns and walks away without a single care. The onlookers realize the drama is over and scatter, leaving Zhang Yida standing there completely lost.
Honestly, he's more terrified of losing his cash cow Liu Ruyan than his own kid. Once he get a taste of the luxury life, going back to being broke is basically a death sentence.
He just can't do it. Meanwhile, our guy heads back to the hospital where Shen Youchu is already settled in her ward. Seeing his dark expression, she immediately asks what's wrong. He forces a smile and tells her it's nothing, then grabs the takeout he bought on his way back. After all this drama, she hasn't even had a drop of water. He asks if she wants him to feed her. Obviously, she says, waving her cast-covered arm. You've got to take responsibility to the very end. Our boy just shrugs and goes along with it, though he's low-key blushing. It gets super awkward when she mischievously bites down on the chopsticks and refuses to let go. He playfully scowls and threatens to stop feeding her, making her quickly spit out the chopsticks. She apologizes, saying she just wanted to break the awkward tension.
His hand pauses as a wave of guilt hits him. After all, she got hurt protecting him, and here he is being incredibly shy about just feeding her a meal. Seriously, acting this shy over a simple meal makes him look weak. He shakes off the awkwardness, corrects his attitude, and gets back to it. He lifts another bite to her lips, but this time she doesn't move. She just stares straight into his eyes and asks if he actually dislikes her. Her eyes start to water. Seeing this usually bubbly girl look so incredibly hurt is heartbreaking. Our guy is completely speechless and has no idea what to say. He knows saying anything hurtful right now would be completely heartless, but as he hesitates and stammers, the tension in the room goes through the roof. A flash of disappointment crosses her eyes, but she quickly forces a bright smile. She tells him it's fine and that her feelings are her own business anyway. She says he shouldn't feel any pressure. That bright smile of hers actually stings his heart, and his hands literally start to tremble. With no other choice, he quickly tries to change the subject and tells her to eat before it gets cold. She nods obediently, but she's already scheming. She is already plotting how to finally win this stubborn guy over. Since she needs to stay in the hospital for observation, he naturally steps up as her guardian. But sleeping becomes a huge issue. The hospital cot is way too small for his height. Seeing him struggle, she sweetly suggests they share her bed. He immediately shuts that down. There's no way he's letting a patient sleep on a tiny cot while he takes the comfortable hospital bed. That's just wrong. She argues that sleeping like that will ruin his back, then bites her lip and suggests he just go home for the nights and she can manage. She tells him to just come back in the morning, but he refuses to leave her alone. Hearing this, she slowly scoots over to the edge of the bed. She blushes deeply and tells him to just sleep next to her. Honestly, with her slightly frail, sick look, she looks absolutely stunning and incredibly hard to resist. Her eyes are completely serious, though. He stammers that it's a bad idea, so she pouts and gives him an ultimatum. Go home or sleep with her. He tries to choose the cot, but she shuts him down. Helpless, our boy finally gives in and climbs up, even though the bed is still pretty tight for two. The second he gets in, they are pressed tight against each other. He nervously scoots to the very edge, making her giggle and warn him he's about to fall off. His back goes completely stiff as he awkwardly coughs and insists the bed is actually pretty spacious, but half his body is literally hanging in the air. But then she uses her one healthy hand to grab him and pull him closer. She tells him to stop being stubborn and just lay next to her. She softly whines that it's not like they haven't shared a bed before. His heart starts pounding like crazy, but he's mostly worried about her getting hurt. To prevent her from hurting her arm again, he has no choice but to slide in closer. As the lights go out, the room goes completely silent. Suddenly, she pulls his arm over to use as a pillow, letting out a satisfied sigh as she tells him to sleep. Talk about a major move! Our boy is too terrified to move a muscle, scared he'll hurt her arm. But by midnight, pure exhaustion wins out, and he finally drifts off to sleep. The next morning, he wakes up to a strange tickle on his nose. He tries to scratch it away, but the itchy feeling comes right back. He hears soft giggling and opens his eyes, only to see her leaning over him and tickling his nose with the ends of her hair. Honestly, they are too cute. Caught in the act, she quickly drops her hair and blushes, teasing him about being such a heavy sleeper. He sits up, feeling a bit apologetic. He apologizes, but she just laughs and shakes her head, thanking him for helping her sleep so comfortably. Our guy blushes and coughs awkwardly. His shy reaction just makes her burst into a fit of sweet giggles. Feeling totally overwhelmed, he flees the room to buy some breakfast downstairs. Their time in the hospital flies by. They don't talk a whole lot, and besides chatting during meals, she mostly spends her time playing on her phone. He honestly respects her dedication. Playing games single-handedly is next level. But that evening, she suddenly brings up a super tricky issue. She tells him she wants to take a shower. Our boy completely freezes. Her arm is in a cast, so she definitely can't do it alone. She blinks at him playfully, asking if he can help her. He wants to decline instantly, because helping her bathe is a whole different level of intimacy. Seeing him hesitate, she tells him to stop overthinking, because it's not like he hasn't seen her before. His entire face goes completely red. But he eventually gives in and nods. Inside the bathroom, he's totally lost, but since this is his responsibility, he has to help. He takes a deep breath as she tells him to help undress her.
While unbuttoning her hospital gown, Ye Fan realizes Shen Youchu is absolutely gorgeous with a perfect slim figure.
He gets super flustered and quickly looks away, which only makes her smile playfully until she has to remove her undergarments.
At that point, even she gets shy and tells him to wait outside. Ye Fan basically bolts out, exhaling in pure relief.
Standing outside, he tries to calm his racing heart, low-key mad at himself for acting like a total coward.
But then she calls out from the bathroom, explaining she accidentally got her gown wet and needs a fresh one.
He grabs a clean change of clothes, but standing at the bathroom door, he completely freezes, unsure how to hand it over. The door opens a tiny crack, and her fair hand reaches out through the warm steam. Ye Fan tries to look away, but catches a glimpse.
Seeing her through the gap makes him freeze until she playfully asks if he has finally seen enough. Snapping out of it, he hands over the clothes. Moments later, she steps out with her gown loosely draped.
She asks him to help button it up. He moves with extreme caution, terrified of accidentally making physical contact.
Shen Youchu teases him, asking if he is seriously still shy at his age. He just rolls his eyes at her playful jab. She laughs, pointing out he saw everything anyway. A bit frustrated, Ye Fan mutters that looking without touching is just pure torture. Blushing, she boldly steps closer and tells him to go ahead and touch her then. Honestly, this girl is built different.
She takes a sudden step forward. Caught off guard, the back of his hand brushes against her, sending a jolt through his entire body. He pulls back instantly, leaving a look of deep disappointment in her eyes as she asks why he still won't consider her.
Just as he tries to explain that his divorce is too fresh, she suddenly steps in and stands on her tiptoes.
Alright, so Shen Youchu goes in for the kiss. Ye Fan's first instinct is to pull back, but he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, so he just stands there completely frozen. Her lips are soft and cool, and she's kissing him with so much emotion, whispering for him to please not push her away again.
She refuses to lose him again. Honestly, the romantic tension completely short-circuits his brain.
So when she softly asks him to be her man, he actually nods without even thinking. Talk about a major win for our boy.
Once it sinks in, he's incredibly relieved that his toxic past marriage didn't completely ruin his ability to love someone new.
Time flies. His ex-wife vanishes, and he gradually forgets her as his bond with Shen Youchu grows rapidly.
She's such a green flag, never pressuring him for labels, just quietly taking care of him and staying by his side.
This peaceful life is exactly what he needed. He starts taking her on trips, showing her beautiful sights he never got to experience before. They're genuinely enjoying the honeymoon phase, but meanwhile, back in the city, his ex, Liu Ruyan, is sitting alone in her office.
Sunlight hits her face, but she still looks completely miserable as her secretary knocks on the door.
The secretary mentions they finally found some people who fit her specific criteria.
Without even looking up, she coldly tells them to come inside. The secretary stands there, tense, knowing how incredibly toxic and unpredictable she is. Her last assistant got fired for literally nothing.
That assistant got blacklisted. Absolutely brutal. Liu Ruyan looks at the files, totally bored, and lights up a cigarette. She used to hate smoking, but now she is totally addicted. It is the only way she can cope with the massive void left by the divorce.
Instead of bothering Ye Fan, she's desperately searching for guys who look just like him. Talk about peak obsession.
Everyone thinks she's just trying to find a rebound to cope with the divorce, but she doesn't actually connect with any of them.
She's literally just killing time, staying up all night and ruining her health. She's gone from smoking 1 pack a day to 2.
Her friends try to warn her, but she completely tunes them out. She's actually wondering if her own death would bring him back. Her worried friends offer to call Ye Fan, but she immediately shuts them down. Deep down, she knows this is all her own fault. If she hadn't treated him so terribly back then, things wouldn't be this bad. Talk about instant karma. 1 year later, she finally steps into Ye Fan's old apartment for the first time since the split.
She kept it perfectly preserved, down to the exact spot of every little item, desperately trying to hold on to his memory.
It is literally like Ye Fan never left. Liu Ruyan grabs a broom to clean the room herself, but right then, a mysterious letter arrives.
She does not care at first, but seeing the sender makes her eyes narrow in shock. It is just one short line, but she completely freezes.
She stands there totally drained of strength. The butler sees her by the entrance, but waits.
only asking gently once she finally snaps out of it. Asking if President Liu is all right, the butler watches as she gently folds the paper and photo, terrified of damaging them.
But look at this photo. The butler gets a clear view of Ye Fan and Shen Youchu look super close in matching couple outfits. They are standing together under beautiful fireworks. Knowing the messy history between Ryan and Ye Fan, the butler instantly gets anxious. But surprisingly, Liu Ruyan is totally calm. Honestly, Ye Fan is living his best life now, and that other girl is right there with him.
That girl loves him deeply, and they are getting married. It is like Ye Fan is warning her that he has moved on.
He is doing great without her and does not need her to bother him. A whole year has passed, and she actually thought she was over him. Now she just collapses onto the sofa, completely numb, holding on to the edge of the table. Staring at Ye Fan's photo, she tries to force a smile, but her face just will not cooperate. In the end, she can only cover her face while her shoulders shake in silent sobs. The butler quietly slips out, leaving her to weep alone until the room blurs and she sees a ghost.
She sees Ye Fan walk in, smiling that warm, familiar smile. But when she reaches out, there is nothing there. Just a cruel illusion. The letter itself was so simple.
It said, "Stop hurting yourself. Live well. Happy New Year." Hours pass before she finally picks up a pen to write back. Happy marriage.
Happy marriage, Ye Fan! Honestly, watching her break down like this is low-key heartbreaking. She really realized it too late. You can literally feel the sheer regret dripping from every single second of this painful silence. She threw away the one person who would have done absolutely anything for her. Now he is gone, and she is completely alone. And it hurts so bad.
She is still in love with him, deeply in love.
But a second chance is totally impossible.
She can only chase his ghost in her mind, living in the dark, remembering the warmth she once had.
But the reality is, Ye Fan has moved on to someone new.
There is no happy ending waiting for her here, just endless cold nights.
This is what makes this story so insanely good.
The author does not just forgive her because she is crying. She has to live with the heavy consequences of her actions, and man, that hits different.
You normally see exes get forgiven instantly, but here, the narrative actually lets her sit in the pain of her own mistakes.
It is raw, it is frustrating, and it is honestly some of the best drama I have seen. He chose his own happiness over her endless drama. At last.
And now she finally understands the value of his love.
But staring at that empty door will not bring him back to her.
The silence in the room is just deafening.
Every little corner reminds her of him.
It is a slow, crushing realization that she completely ruined her own shot at happiness. There are no cheap plot devices to save her from this heartbreak, and I love that.
The only thing left to do is wish him well.
Even if it absolutely tears her apart, she still wishes she was there, holding his hand one last time.
But those days are gone, buried in the past. It is crazy how someone can go from being your everything to a total stranger. Just a name on a wedding invitation now. A painful reminder of what could have been. This scene is just a masterclass in emotional payoffs. It is so heavy and so real.
She let the perfect man slip away.
And now he is building a life elsewhere, leaving her behind with only her regrets. Honestly, this is easily one of my favorite dramas. All right, the tension in the air is absolutely insane right now. He is completely cornered by them. But of course, our main character is just built different. He looks at the final boss and just smirks at them. Then, the system window pops up right in front of him with a completely wild choice that changes everything. I wish I could stay standing here, he says.
I choose the impossible, he says, taking his revenge.
Since he has got his opponent right there too.
To the day she knew he would win. And in the dark, he searches for the exit, which is pretty funny. No shot! The animation in this legendary fight scene is honestly movie level and so incredibly smooth. He starts folding every single demon that gets in his way. Just pure, unadulterated final boss energy radiating from him during this massive dungeon raid. At this point, even the system itself is starting to completely glitch out because of his sheer godlike power level, which is way off the charts. I choose the impossible, he yells, slashing forward.
Since he has got his target cornered now, too. To the day she knew he would succeed. He searches for the hidden boss door, laughing because this is too funny. Bro, I seriously did not see this insane plot twist coming at all. It changes everything.
The entire dungeon floor begins to collapse beneath their feet as things get wild. But our overpowered protagonist doesn't even flinch. He is just built different. Unbelievably lucky drop. I choose the impossible dream, he quietly whispers. His rival is watching him. To the exact day she knew he would stand tall. It is finally safe to put his weakness away.
And then boom! The ultimate legendary magic circle activates across the entire battlefield.
Honestly, this is so funny. The main villain actually thinks he won, but he has no idea what is coming for him next. This absolute hype is unreal. Monsters are falling. He is completely unstoppable.